Hello, hello, hello. This is Geoff with Fluent American checking in. I have another task too and a little bit of spare time. So we're going to be taking a look at this essay. I'm going to post it in the comments so you can follow along. You can also see the link to the video in the video description, so that way you can follow along with me as we make some corrections. Again, this is a discuss both views essay. As I've stated before in these essays, when you have to discuss both sides, my suggestion is to spend one paragraph on one side and then a second paragraph on your own opinion. The other thing is that you really want to make sure that your opinion is clear from the introduction. A lot of students wait until the conclusion, and that means that your examiner gets a little bit confused about what your opinion is. Your opinion should be clear throughout the entire essay. Okay? So again, the link is in the video description. It's also in the chat box in case you want to follow along with me as we take a look at the essay. Also, as I go through this, I encourage you to please send questions and things like that, so that way I can try to answer them as best as I can when I read this. Okay. All right, I have not looked at this essay before, so this is going to be new for everybody. Some people think that space exploration is a waste of resources. Others think it's essential to explore. Discuss both sides and give your opinion. Great. Okay, so let's see what's going on in this essay. Let's begin with the introduction. We'll take a look at the whole paragraph, starting off with grammar and vocab. So during the Cold War, due to the space race, technology and economy had a reasonable improvement. I'd say technology and the economy. Usually when you're talking about the economy in general for a country, you'll see a the. So technology and economy had a reasonable improvement. Instead of saying had a reasonable improvement, maybe like experienced, or maybe just advanced. Both the technology and the economy advanced, or maybe improved. I don't think you need the had a reasonable improvement. That sounds a little bit less natural sounding to me. Nevertheless, the same improvement would be seen if the investment had been made to solve recurrent problems, especially in education and health. Okay, a couple of things here. Our verb tense isn't quite clear to me. Watch, this is an unreal past conditional, and it's great to use conditionals in your writing, but just make sure you're using them accurately. So this, nevertheless, the same improvement, instead of would be seen, would have been seen. Another word you could use besides seen would also be experienced or witness experienced. If the investment had been made, what investment? So when I say the investment, that makes it sound like it's a specific investment. But we haven't mentioned any investments in this whole introduction. So my suggestion would be take off the, so we're talking about more in general. Okay, it's not really a concept we've explored. The same improvement would have been experienced if investments have been made to solve recurrent problems, especially, I'd probably use especially, in education and health. All right, let me read that whole sentence one more time, just to make sure it is making sense. So during the Cold War, due to the space race, technology and the economy advanced. Nevertheless, the same improvement would have been experienced if investments had been made to solve recurrent problems, especially in health and education and health. Okay, fine. A portion of society believes that space exploration could lead to development of new technology. Development of new technology that could be, so here we have a passive, this should say that could be used in daily life. Okay, technology that could be used in daily life. And new technology could be used in daily life. And so I'm curious about the stimulate economy part. I don't know what the subject is. Is it the technology or is it the exploration? So portion of society believes that space exploration lead to It's also a specific development, so we'll add in the. Could lead to the development of new technology that could be used in daily life, and maybe like could also stimulate the economy. Kind of like what we mentioned before. With economy, you often have the in front of it when you're using it as a noun. It's technology that could be used in daily life and could also stimulate the economy. However, it is notable that this resource could be better used. Space. What is this resource? Is the resource space exploration, or is it the money that goes towards space exploration? So that's a little bit unclear when we just say this resource. It is notable that maybe like the resources used for space exploration, or maybe for such exploration, so we're not repeating our words too often. Resources used for such exploration could be better. I don't want to keep using used all the time, so I'm going to find a different verb. Maybe like could be better spent on solving real problems. Maybe like in health and education. I don't think we need that other part. Real problems in health and education. Let me check that sentence one more time. So this is our thesis statement. It's introducing what's going to be discussed in the body paragraphs. So it's making sure everything is clear. So a portion of society believes that space exploration could lead to development of new technology, could be used in daily life, and could also stimulate the economy. Okay, so one side thinks that it's technology that could be used in daily life. So that's one point that we're going to explore. Great. And could also stimulate the economy. That's the second point. Okay, so use a similar color in orange. Okay, so I would expect the next body paragraph, the first body paragraph, to talk about technology that is used in daily life and that is also space exploration stimulating the economy. I expect to see those things in the next body paragraph. Then the resources used for such exploration could be better spent on solving real problems. So I'm expecting to see real problems related to healthcare and also real problems related to education. Great. Okay. So again, by looking at this, I already have an idea of what the two body paragraphs are going to discuss. That is the goal of a thesis statement in an introduction. So that very last sentence of your intro should do two things. The first thing is that it should give the opinion. I know what the opinion is here. So originally it says a portion of society believes. When you say that, you are separating yourself from that opinion. Okay, so you're saying, oh, these people, a portion of society over there, they think this. Then we have that. However, it is notable that resources could be better spent. So now that second part makes the opinion of the author clear. I prefer this for structure. I think it's clear that this is where the author stands. You don't need to say like I strongly believe or in my opinion or in this essay. Those things are not necessary if you have a well-structured sentence. And I think this sentence, it's clear that the author is not on that stance, is disagreeing with the portion of society. Great. Okay. Cool. If you have questions about the introduction, be sure to post them in chat or in the comments later, and I'll try to come back and explain. Let's take a look at that first body paragraph. Most technology invented these days comes from research in space exploration, and lots of companies have been created to support this industry. Okay. So again, we mentioned the thesis statement should tie this back to the topic sentence here should link back to the thesis statement. So we have new technology up in our thesis. Then we have technology down here as well. The second part, we're expecting to hear about the economy. And then I think we kind of have it here. Lots of companies have been created to support this industry. I would be a little bit more direct about linking that to the economy. Like, for instance, and lots of companies have been created to support this industry, helping the economy grow. Okay. Just linking it back to the economy. Make sure that that's clear because that's something we state in our thesis statement. Okay. In order to make space travel viable, good, these organizations invest heavily in high-tech solutions, new computer processors, and bodywork hardware. Bodywork hardware to me is a little bit awkward. I'll maybe just say hardware. Just end there. And hardware with better performance, like carbon, are just a few examples of developments that this industry provided and are used in our daily life. Okay. Perfect. I like the structure here. So you have, first off, we have a topic sentence. We start off saying that, okay, technologies come from research. Okay. Then our next sentence, our first main idea says, in order to make space travel viable, organizations have to invest in new solutions. Okay. And then we give a detail. What are some examples of that? Well, there's new computer processors, there's hardware like carbon, okay, that come from these industries. I think this is a clear development. I like that progression. Okay, that's going to help your task achievement score. That's going to help your coherence and cohesion score. Next. Moreover, the advent of technology could only be possible by creation of other companies. The advent of maybe like such technology, the technology you mentioned before in the previous sentence, the advent of such technology could only be possible by the creation of other companies. I'm a little bit unclear on that, but let me see if the next sentence explains. Just as a car factory. So when you're making a quick comparison, you can't really just use as, you really need like. Just like a car factory, a space company. A space company needs, company is singular, space company needs suppliers to support their research that provide parts and gears, and competitor. Instead of competitor enterprises, I would just say competitors arise, creating a wealthy industry. Let me read these last two sentences. The development in these two sentences, for me, is less clear than in the development in the first half of the paragraph. The advent of such technology can only be possible by creation of other companies. I would maybe take off this part, only be possible by the creation. Maybe like could lead to. Could lead to the creation of other companies, just like a car factory. I would go further with this example too. Just like a car factory needs like find maybe like tire manufacturers and maybe like steel mills, something like that. Car factory needs supplies, right? So link it to that. Just like car factory needs to find tire manufacturers and steel mills, a space company needs suppliers to support their research to provide parts and gears. I would consider ending the sentence there because this second part with the competition and the wealthy industry is not fully explained. You would probably need to give another detail about how other companies would arise and then how that also leads to a wealthy industry. You need more details for that second part. So I would consider removing it and just ending at gears. Also, if you know the specific parts that maybe a space company might need, so here we say just provides parts and gears. Okay, that's fine, but this is a place where you can also push your vocabulary a little bit more. You know, instead of saying like parts and gears, maybe you could say like parts, maybe like heat shielding. Maybe instead of gears, maybe you could say like propulsion systems. I don't know. This is just your chance to push your vocab. You're trying to, if you're aiming for a score that's a 7 or higher, you need to demonstrate that your vocabulary is above a 6 or a 5. So try to think of words that you think someone scoring a 5 or a 6 may know and use. You know, the word part is a very common word, right? Um, but it's very unlikely that someone scoring a 5 or a 6 is going to say things like heat shielding or propulsion. Okay. So in general, there were some tweaks we made to the end of this paragraph. Um, I liked the development, especially in the first half. I thought the first half of the paragraph was pretty well structured. Let's take a look at the second paragraph. This industry may sound prosperous and innovative. Instead of in a first glance, maybe like at first glance. However, all this high intellectual individuals is plural, and we also see that and, so we have plurals here. So instead of saying this, we really should be saying these. However, all these maybe instead of high intellectual, maybe highly intellectual individuals and financial resources. Quick note, you haven't mentioned intellectual individuals in the paragraph above. And when you say these intellectual individuals, that makes it sound like you talked about them before. So the pronoun feels a little bit inaccurate. So I'm just going to make a note, like these individuals should be mentioned in the first body paragraph, especially if you will reference them again in the second body paragraph. All these highly intellectual individuals and financial resources could be used to solve, instead of existent problems. Existence is not a super common word. I think the form you want is existing. Financial resources could be used to solve existing problems and to invest in education and health. Diseases are just one example of how these resources, your plural form, could be better, maybe instead of invested, price spent. Or maybe utilized. For example, in a pandemic situation, that sounds very relevant. Researchers could be, maybe instead it could be focused on, maybe could focus on. Use the active voice here, you don't need the passive. Could focus on finding a cure or vaccine, while funds could be used to create campaign hospitals and to buy medical gear. Instead, to the workforce, for the workforce. Okay. Campaign hospitals, this isn't my field, so maybe that is a thing. That is a term, though, that I am not entirely familiar with. I'm just going to underline it. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying, me personally, I don't fully know what that is, so I need to look that up later. Okay. And to buy medical gear for the workforce. Again, you have an opportunity to push your vocab here. It's like medical gear, such as respirators, ventilators, latex gloves, whatever, for workforce, something. On top of that, billions of dollars could be used to fund a basic education of excellence and universal health system. Billions of dollars could be, instead of could be used. Billions of dollars could be used to fund a basic education. Maybe just a basic education system and universal. It's a health system, maybe like healthcare. Usually a health system is called like healthcare. Universal healthcare for the population. Instead of by doing investing in, you can just say by investing in. By investing in instruction size, increase in quality of life and wealth. Why? Why is this true? Why should I believe you? So you're giving me a main idea. Really, you're telling me that, hey, this is going to improve your quality of life and your wealth if you have more education. Sounds nice. Where's your proof? I don't have any. That's a big claim to make, and you need to give proof. This is going to hurt, for instance, your task achievement because you're not having a fully developed idea. You need to explain that a little bit more. In addition, investments in healthcare boost lifespan, providing health support with more hospitals and education. That sentence is fine. I'm okay with it. The vocab to me seems a little bit expected and typical. Um, if you're aiming for something again at a 7 or higher, you probably need to have language that feels a little bit fresher than what I'm seeing here. These words feel very standard. Okay. It also is probably something you could explore a little bit more. Um, I would say compared to the previous body paragraph, this one doesn't seem as strong to me. I think it's because the topic is a lot more abstract. We're making the reasons that, like we could be funding education and health. Well, those are both extremely large topics. Um, I mean, people write books on education, people write books on health. So to squeeze both of those huge topics into one body paragraph, it's going to be hard to make the argument that you really want to make. It's going to lead to kind of what we see here, sentences that can't fully explore or explain the topic. And also, it hurts the vocab too, to a degree, because we don't use as many concrete words. Whereas I think before, we were able to mention some specific inventions, computer processors and hardware. We also the creation of companies and exploring that. It's like, especially when you compared it to a car factory, and we took that a little further. We said, a car factory, they need tires, they need steel. So you're creating other industries. I think that was a little bit easier to follow. Yeah. Okay. I see Nomad coming in, my friend. Cool. Lecture Nomad, tell me what type of score you were looking for your writing. If you've got a 5.5. Yeah, so I think in this body paragraph, I would suggest for the second body paragraph, I would try to pick a point that's a little bit more specific, because I think this one is a little bit too general. Health and education are very big topics. Let's take a look at our conclusion. To summarize, some people believe that investment in space exploration could provide side of new technologies and increase in the economy, and maybe instead of an increase in the economy, and maybe like boost the economy, comma, whereas the same results could be achieved by investing this money to solve real problems into an impulse. Impulse is not quite the right word. Maybe like to improve basic health, basic education, and health. Okay, conclusion is fairly standard. In general, I would say a conclusion is a paragraph. A paragraph is not just one sentence. A paragraph is ideally 3 to 5 sentences minimum. A quick way to write a conclusion could be to have one sentence be a restate the opinion, another sentence to rephrase the first body paragraph's argument, or the topic sentence, and then one sentence to rephrase the body two's argument. Topic sentence. It's a quick way to get a paragraph that's a little bit longer and more standard for a paragraph length. Okay. Okay. Oh, great. So Nomad says his score is enough for the schools he's looking for. Great. That's always exciting. I know, especially nowadays with the virus, it's hard to schedule these tests, and especially there's more pressure to get the score because you don't know when you'll be able to take it. So if you're able to get the scores you want, that's always great to hear. For this essay, the strengths I see are especially that first body paragraph. I also like the thesis statement. Okay, I think those are two areas where this essay is doing pretty well. In terms of areas to improve, I would pick maybe slightly more specific arguments for the second body paragraph. Also, watch out for some of the vocab. There were lots of opportunities here to push the vocab a little bit further. Otherwise, you risk kind of getting stuck around that spans 6, maybe 6.5 ish. If you're looking for a 7, you need to be more accurate, more precise, and a little bit more advanced. Idioms, collocations, phrasal verbs, those are all things you want to consider. If I had to grade this essay, my guess is that we're looking somewhere between, I don't know, maybe like 6.5 ish, plus or minus half a band. I don't think this is a bad essay. There were some vocab things that we wanted to adjust. There was some repetition of vocab as well. So, always try to show off your vocab as best you can. Try not to repeat the same words a lot. But I think the general development here isn't bad. No. All right. If you have other questions or things about this essay or anything else, feel free to send me a comment or a message. Also, check out the website. The website, again, is fluentamerican.com. Also, if you want to get your own essay graded, take a look at our website, fluentamerican.com. And there are options where you can get your own essay graded for, I just adjusted the prices, hang on, $5.99 a task. And then there's also an option where you can send 3 tasks for $15. And I'll post the link there. Great. All right. Thank you guys so much for your time. Again, if you have questions about this video, just leave some comments and things. Lastly, I just started a writing group as well on Facebook. So I encourage you, if you're trying to study your writing, get some more IELTS writing practice in, you'll be able to join our group. I post some prompts, some questions, some little writing exercises so you can get some more free practice in studying and also gets a little bit of feedback in. Thank you guys for your time. I hope you have a good day, have a good night, good afternoon. Also, of course, stay safe. Take care.